Shall begin. A very good morning and a warm welcome to everyone. Thank you all for attending Pharmaniaga Berhad's first quarter FY22 results briefing. It's good to finally be able to see everyone's faces in person again. So as you may know, Pharmaniaga has continued to record a solid financial performance even despite the nation transitioning into the endemic phase. The management will share with you on how this was achieved and what steps they are taking to maintain their growth trajectory going forward. Without further ado, allow me to invite the Group Managing Director, Datuk Zulkarnain Mat Yusof, to the rostrum to kickstart the briefing with his opening speech. Over to you, Datuk.
Thank you, Kevin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And a very good morning to all. Very good morning to all our esteemed guests, analysts, fund managers, and investors from various financial houses and banks. Welcome to Pharmaniaga Fund Analyst Briefing today for the first quarter of 2022. Thank you for attending this briefing, as all this while we have been meeting virtually. I think this is the first time after 2 years we have a meeting in physical, and thank you for all of you that come today. I'm very pleased today that to have this great opportunity to meeting you face to face for the first time since I joined Pharmaniaga in September 2020. By meeting physically, I believe we can have much better interaction and discussion, which we might miss if we meet only virtually. Our good interaction can help us to understand better of each other. That will lead to stronger relationship. Eventually, we need each other to assist among us, and then also to understand better about Pharmaniaga and all about our business going forward. Before I proceed further, let me introduce you the Pharmaniaga team who are with me today. With me are Encik Muhammad Iqbal Abdul Rahman, our Deputy Managing Director, and also Nuraini Muhammad Ali, our Chief Financial Officer. Ladies and gentlemen, during the first quarter, the group has recorded an increase for its profit after taxation and zakat by 26.4% to 28.9 million compared to the first quarter last year. Our profit before taxation and zakat also increased by 18.8% to 37.4 million. The higher bottom line came on the back of revenue rising by 21.3% to 962.2 million from 793.5 million ringgit in the previous corresponding quarter. The improved results were mainly attributable to higher contribution by the Logistics and Distribution Division as new products were added into by the Ministry of Health Operation, approved product purchase list and coupled with the Indonesian division, returning to the black. Indonesian operation has successfully achieved a swift turnaround in the first quarter of the financial year 2022, and these results has reflected the effectiveness of the reorganization of its enhanced operational efficiency through an ongoing stock optimization exercise as well as aggressive payment collection. Our business footprint in Indonesia has huge untapped potential to explore. We are in the midst of revamping the current business model in our public listed logistics and distribution arm, PT Millennium Pharmacon International Tbk, located in Jakarta, and increasing the products portfolio of our manufacturing arm, PT Erita Pharma in Bandung. With strategic business and aggressive marketing plans in place, we aim to further enhance the profitability for the overall Indonesian division in the coming quarters. As part of our effort to establish the group efforts to intensify its position as a major international biopharmaceutical player, we are in the phase of an aggressive discussion with new countries around the world and eyes to expand our operation in United Kingdom, Turkey, and the Middle East, and also North Africa. We call it MENA market. During the quarter, the group has sealed 3 memorandum of understandings with significant healthcare and pharmaceutical companies that substantiates our strategy to become a major international biopharmaceutical company. On 25th February, we signed MOUs with 2 well-established pharmaceutical companies based in Thailand. The first company was Bionet Group for vaccine research and development. The collaboration with Bionet will support the development of combination vaccine formulation by providing required antigens and know-how method using recombinant cellular pertussis vaccine, leading to the most innovative pediatric combination and market insights for long-term use in Malaysia and other relevant territories. On the same day, we also signed MOU with BioInnova Company Limited for bioequivalence solutions as well as pharmaceutical product to explore opportunities riding on BioInnova's scientific expertise in bioavailability and bioequivalence studies, as well as to build capabilities in product development. On 30th March, the group has signed MOU with one of the largest healthcare companies in the United Arab Emirates, Prime Healthcare Group. The partnership is to serve as the foundation in establishing the framework that will grant Prime Healthcare the exclusive right to register, import, promote, market, sell, and distribute our pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical products in UAE. Ladies and gentlemen, as the world has begun transitioning into the endemic phase amid its high vaccination rates, all economic sectors in Malaysia have now returned to their existing business operation back to pre-COVID-19 pandemic normalcy. We are focusing on intensifying our manufacturing of generic pharmaceutical and consumer healthcare product portfolio in the next financial performance to elevate business sustainability. With a gradual shift into our existing operation and adapted to the current of changes, we continue on growing our manufacturing of generic pharmaceutical, biopharma, and consumer healthcare products. This is part of company strategy to boost and focus on our manufacturing range of niche products such as insulin, vaccines, over-the-counter and supplement portfolio products such as citric vitamin C, and with now formats as well as to launch vitality and gastro healthcare categories. The group is also finalizing the logistics and distribution contract extension agreement with the Ministry of Health, slated to be completed by the third quarter of 2022. We constantly work to improve the operational excellence in increasing efficiency to our logistical and distribution technology, including high-tech operational tools, as well as highly reliable warehouse management system for smooth operations and to ensure the utmost productivity. The group has been investing heavily in high technology logistics automation systems and solution developments, with emphasis on digitalization. In the view of COVID-19 pandemic, digitalization has proven an important role to improve efficiency in terms of reducing human errors and operational costs. Last year, the group has also collaborated with the Malaysia Healthcare Travel Council, MHTC, to supply and distribute the hepatitis C drug, Ravidasvir, Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine, as well as other vaccines to MHTC's participating hospitals and healthcare centers. We will assist the development of the platform system for the vaccination program. The collaboration is expected to provide Pharmaniaga with another recurring income stream of 100 million ringgit in the Q3 or Q4 financial ending this year, and it will contribute to the group's bottom line going forward. Concurrently, the group is actively discussing with interested parties to export Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine stock into countries with low vaccination rates by the second half of 2022 to hasten vaccination rates and play its part to achieve global immunization against COVID-19. To elaborate further on the results and plan, I will pass this to Van Oraini, who will present the third quarter the first quarter financial performance, and this will be followed by a presentation on the operational matters by Encik Muhammad Iqbal. Van Oraini, now the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Datuk Zulkarnain. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to all our analysts and fund managers. Welcome to our briefing, Q1 fiscal year 2022. I will walk through our historical number, first quarter 2022. We can see here from the graph or the bar chart, revenue for first quarter 2022 stood at 962.2 million against same quarter last year of 793.5. I need to highlight that this is actually performance without the COVID-19 vaccine. Yeah? So the revenue increased on healthy growth across the group's revenue, including concession, private sector and Indonesia businesses. Okay. On the gross profit, we can see here there is a growth of our gross profit 27.5% and gross profit margin increased by 59 basis points in line with the increase in revenue. On the bottom part of it, on the left hand side, our bottom stood at 27.7 million against same quarter last year of 23.1, an increase of 19.9%. This is actually, we need to highlight, as Datuk Zon mentioned just now, the Indonesia division now returning to the black amid the group's successful reorganization plans to enhance our operational efficiency via stock optimization and also aggressive collection. Okay, this is really proven in the first quarter 2022. When we make comparison, first quarter 2022 against immediate preceding quarter, quarter 4 2021, we can see the revenue also increased 35.2% due to higher contribution from all segments, as I mentioned just now, and gross profit and gross profit margin increased by 26.3%, respectively, due to lower contributions of our sales Sanofi COVID-19, which we recorded in quarter 4 2021. So meaning that it's a very minimal for the first quarter 2022. Same goes to the PATAMI. PATAMI declined 67.6% in line with I mentioned just now, because in quarter 4 is actually exceptional, quarter 4 2021, where we are actually closing the COVID-19 profit and loss, where we are actually giving favorable manufacturing variance as well as low transportation costs, because we already closed the account that is giving why our gross profit and net profit for quarter 4 higher compared to this year quarter. In terms of revenue breakdown by segment, we can see here, as I mentioned just now, is actually healthy growth from all segments, including concession, private sector, which is actually fall under non-concession, and Indonesia. You can see on the pie chart here, as I mentioned, although the total group contribution of our concession business increased 54.2% against 50.9%, then in terms of absolute amount, there is an increase from 403.8 million to 521.5 million. That's about 29 to 30% growth in terms of revenue, because the trust that government put on us, they already included few products into the concession list. So we are actually enjoying the revenue for this year. In terms of the light here, 247.5 million for our Indonesia operation. That is a growth, whereby same quarter last year we only recorded 201.7. I already mentioned the reason behind it just now. And on the pink color, that is actually non-concession, inclusive of our private sector. We can see a very healthy growth or encouraging growth in our private sector, i.e. our general practitioners, private hospital, as well as our consumer healthcare segment. So the value that we recorded for first quarter is 193 million against same quarter last year of 188 million. In terms of our balance sheet, it actually depends how you look at the balance sheet, whether this is actually healthy balance sheet or not. So when you can see here, of course, it's actually the trigger point. Total asset is actually well understood as an increase, and total liabilities is actually stood at 2 billion. There is an increase of 14%. This is actually temporary position, whereby our borrowing stood at 953 against 855 compared end of the year 31st December 2021. But this is actually temporary. Once we monetize, as what Datuk Zul mentioned just now, we are actually in an aggressive discussion with the few parts of the world, countries. Once we monetize, definitely we will pay down our borrowing. At the moment, first quarter, our gearing ratio stood at 2.3. Not sure whether it's actually quite alarming, but this is temporary. So we are actually looking at, once we monetize, the gearing ratio will go down to 1.7 or 1.8, hovering in that range. In terms of receivable, you can't really compare, because when we compare against end of the year last year, because the main customer is actually our Ministry of Health, and they are actually using the cash accounting. They will pay off everything when it comes to the year end. They are not accrual accounting. So basically at first quarter, our receivables stood at 456, but this is no issue at all. Our receivables is actually on time. This is how we look at our balance sheet. Okay, that's about all on our performance first quarter 2022, and I will hand over it to our Group Deputy Managing Director, Encik Muhammad Iba Abdul Rahman. Encik Muhammad Iba.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning. Nice to see all of you here. We have not met for the last 2 years. Great. And this gives a message that things are moving to normalcy. So we were very tight. The country imposed a lot of control measures. It's done throughout the world. Australia at one time you can't even fly in even if their own citizen, but now things are moving to the positive side. You can protect life, but without the livelihood, nothing will move. So the government's decision to move to transition and eventually moving to endemic, this is to ensure that the lives of everyone is protected, not just having a life, but having a livelihood. You need to earn, you need to continue your business as usual. So with that, we can see some positive signs in the business itself. So the two have shared some of the numbers. I'll share more details on that. On the first part, on the 7 focus strategies, I've shared this earlier in the last analyst briefing. We will stick to this. This will be our core strategies moving forward. We will not stray away from this. We are not going into new areas beyond the pharmaceutical domain. Unless, if the areas that we venture does help our pharmaceutical, then probably we will. But otherwise, we are very focused in pharmaceutical. If someone asks whether we will be going into providing, making gloves and all that, no, that's not our core business. So we are we know what we are going to do. The 7 strategies will stick to this moving forward. So I'll not go into each and every strategies, as I shared earlier. What I'll do is cover the key points that have changed, things that we have achieved last quarter, and how do we see things moving on some of these activities. One is the integrated logistic, the logistic business itself. The concession sits in that area. Second one will be on our R&D. This is one of the key components of Pharmaniaga. We have a big sizable team here. Moving growth in halal biopharmaceutical, that I have shared. Later I'll share more details on this. And transforming our brand to be a household brand. Just like when you have Colgate, we want people to say Citrex as a household brand. Each and every house should have a Pharmaniaga product. That's what we would like to see. Strengthen our international presence. We are making some headwinds here. Again, I share later. We want to move into digitalization to ensure that we do error-free operations as well as media activity, and also manage our costs. And finally, the most important bit is our asset, which is the human capital. Okay, I'll cover the first one. The logistics and distribution that I have shared. We have received a letter of intent for 10 years concession. We are in the negotiation stage. There's none of the issues raised we are objecting. So basically it should be smooth sailing, and we hope by quarter 3, quarter 4 that we could be able to sign the agreement moving forward. This will be for the logistics and distribution. On top of that, the government plans, those of you who are involved with us for a number of years now, you know there will be always a tender. Every 3 years, government do a tender for new products. So Pharmaniaga doesn't decide which product to buy. The government does a tender, and from that tender, the government decides, okay, Pharmaniaga, this is the product I want to buy, this is the price I want to buy, this is who you should buy from, and this is your fee for doing the logistics and distribution. That's decided by the government. So the government plans to do another tender by end of the year. With that, we believe there will be more products added because they can see the efficiency of us performing the service compared to if the government signed their contract with their own principal itself. With Pharmaniaga, they only see one Pharmaniaga delivering all sorts of drugs. There are over 90 suppliers, 750 products right now. So only one party delivers, and only they need to point fingers to one party. So this is the advantage to them. Number 2, we also have moved into just-in-time delivery. So with that, the government hospital does not need to expand their stock. They used to store their goods at 9 months supply in the hospital. They moved to 6 months supply. Now they are looking at 1 month supply in the hospital, very minimal. And they know when they order the next day, within the agreed period, then Pharmaniaga will deliver the goods to the hospital. So this has reduced the government's burden as well on holding stock, expiry of stock within the hospital, etc. Alright. The second one is we want to be the prime pharmaceutical L&D company of choice. We are now talking to other MNCs. Some of these MNCs, they have regional arrangement as well as from their HQ. We are trying to persuade some of them coming to us. We are already at the hospital. We are delivering to each and every hospital in Malaysia, government and private. We are also delivering to over 2,000 GPs, 4,000 GPs throughout Malaysia. So there's no for us, it is just an additional product. So we can do better, and our KPI is very strict with the government. So as such, they'll get the benefit from our services. So we intend to expand this. We have to enable us to do this. We plan to expand our number of warehouse. We are short in Sabah. Sabah we only have one. In Sarawak we have one. But we intend to move, also have another one in east of Sabah as well as east of Sarawak. That means in B2 as well in Sandakan. This is our target. Sandakan, the work is progressing now, and probably in a month's time, then we should get our warehouse up and running. Yeah. The other one is in Indonesia. Indonesia, we have 3 branches because of the nature of island. We need to travel throughout. So with that, we will continue to expand. We are looking at least 1 to 2 branches expansion every year, especially into the areas that we are working with third party. We tend to have our own sales and marketing office within that area. And with that, with the last portion of business in Malaysia and Indonesia, Indonesia is doing roughly $1 billion logistic business, Malaysia around 1.8 billion business. So with that, we can see we'll be a one-stop center for distribution of pharmaceutical within Malaysia and Indonesia. Alright, and the third point, mergers and acquisition. We are looking at either acquisition of a pharmaceutical grade distribution company or even an FMCG operator. So we are making some discussions at the moment. I can't share much on this, but we really want to move. We want to expand, and one of the areas of expansion is acquiring a brownfield, existing market. So we make announcements when we have reached a conclusive activity on this. So concession, again, in summary, we are looking at 1.5 billion with 2% growth. This is not trying to be too aggressive. At times, if the number of product increases, this could go much higher. And local distribution, we expect to grow by at least double digit within the next few years as well. On R&D, you see, without new products, you cannot expand your business. So R&D is very core to the business. We have one of the largest R&D set up in Malaysia, in Malaysian pharmaceutical company. So we will continue to expand this area. We will introduce new products. For example, if you look at cholesterol treatment, the base treatment was simvastatin. We have been producing simvastatin for many years now, and now we have come up with rosuvastatin. So rosuvastatin is the latest version of cholesterol treatment, and we'll continue to do this. Whenever the product expires or the demand, there's a huge demand increases, there's a pattern shift within the drug industry, we'll continue to develop this drug and introduce to the market. And we'll attempt to be the first company to introduce the generic to the market with our capability. We also have partnered. One of the challenges we faced during the pandemic was we have developed the drugs, but every time we produce a drug, we need to do bioequivalence study. What the bioequivalence study does is to ensure that whatever drug, the generic drug we manufacture is exactly the same as the innovator. That's a must. Without that, you cannot get MPRA approval. But there are a lot of partners. We were working with some Indian partners and so on. There were a lot of constraints during that pandemic period because they could not perform to our requirement. So now we have added BioInnova into our portfolio. They will assist us to do bioequivalence study in Thailand as well. So they will increase our portfolio, and probably we could introduce drugs faster than what we have planned. OTC market, significant. We have introduced around 8 products. Just now, pharmaceutical, we have introduced 12 products last year. And for supplement product, we have introduced 8. We target to introduce between 20 to 30 every year, both pharmaceutical as well as OTC and supplements. This is something that we want to do. That's the engine of growth for Pharmaniaga. And expansion into nutraceutical. We have Arnia, stingless bee honey, and we also have stevia product. Arnia is doing well. The growth is quite significant. We'll be signing up with an option for export of Arnia into probably international market by Q4. This is a great, for us, a great movement within the Arnia, within the nutraceutical sector. What else we have done within the OTC? We also have added vending machine. We have announced this. We are the first pharmaceutical company to introduce vending machine, self-servicing machine. It will be available 24 hours. The initial stage will park probably at the petrol stations. Eventually, we move to prominent areas, bus stops, train stations, and so on, where it's easily accessible to public to purchase this product. We had some hiccup, not because of anything, not because of our doing. This product comes from China. We got the first 20 batch, but after that, when we ordered another 80 to make to 100, then there was some high lockdown and everything got stuck. But now it has normalized again. We expect to get this product soon, and we plan to have at least 1,000 of this machine in the next 3 years. So it will be a pharmacy, a mini pharmacy, or at various outlets. This is the way things are moving. People want convenience. Don't want to go to every time go to any of the pharmacy to get good simple ones, cough and cold kind of medicine. So you can easily go to any of the petrol stations and grab it from there. On halal biopharmaceutical, this is our engine of growth. This is what we see that we will be banking on for the next few years. Halal vaccine manufacturing, we have announced this since 2018. All right, we have made good progress. The renovation work is ongoing now in our Puchong plant. So the first floor of the Puchong plant will be our vaccine plant. And we have products in the process of registration. We have a few, we have gotten the registration. The rest are still ongoing, the process of registration, and everything's on track. And we hope by 2024 we can get all of this running. Yeah. And one of the products, we are working with a company in Thailand called Bionet Asia, which Dato' have announced earlier. We are also not only working on this new product, which we have licensed. We're also working on another product they are strong at, Dato' mentioned earlier. So we'll be making more announcement whenever we have a new product that we want to add to our vaccine portfolio. On halal insulin, again, the renovation is ongoing. This is on the second floor of the Puchong plant. So Puchong plant, those who have visited earlier, those are just the base, the intro only. So once the plants get completed in 2024, 2025, then you can see the first floor will produce insulin into pre-filled syringes, vaccine into pre-filled syringes, and the second floor will produce insulin into cartridges. So that the great plans that we have for Pharmaniaga as an engine of growth. Why are we moving into this sector? This is a niche area where Malaysia, we will be the first Malaysian company to produce insulin. We have started with the fill and finish of Sinovac. We don't want to stop at just COVID-19 vaccine. We have planned from 2018, we want to do all vaccine requirement of Malaysia. And that's the reason why we came up with the vaccine plan. And once this complete, we will be the first halal vaccine plant in the world. Yeah? And the first in Malaysia for that matter. And similar with insulin, this will be the first halal insulin plant in the world as well. We have a lot of queries from Middle East, especially. There are a lot of diabetic patients in Middle East because nature of food that they consume. They are very interested to get this up and running, but we need to follow the protocol. Drug industry is not like today you think of something and then tomorrow you get the product out. You need to build a plant. It has to comply to the regulatory authority. You register the product, another 2 years of registration and so on. And so that's why it takes time. On COVID-19 vaccine, we'll be on the lookout on what's happening around the world. Singapore has announced that the Omicron, the BA4 and BA5, expected to be heavy probably in August time frame. Expected to be bad. There were only 3 cases recently, but in South Africa, almost everyone got vaccinated or got infection. Right? So very heavy. However, the BA4 and BA5 is causing reinfection in almost everyone. So the infection rate is very, very high compared to the original Omicron itself. So then we'll be looking at what are the latest scenario then and do our investment as and when necessary. So at the current moment, what we do is we'll focus on selling our vaccine stock. We have made good progress. In fact, Barat with us will be our ED, Executive Director, but he could not join us. He's now in Egypt making some arrangement for the vaccine sales. Yeah? And so what are we targeting? So we need a number that when we say we have planned. So for the halal vaccine, initial, this is just local, we are looking at around 100 million per year. And insulin, we are looking at 80 million per year. This is just local. But our plan is not to stay local. Our plan is to go international. All right? And next. become a household brand. I mentioned earlier we want Citrax to be in each and every home, any of the products. So with that, we have started by giving you vitamin C in your bag. That's Citrax vitamin C. Consume it. During the pandemic, this was the highest selling product in highest growth product in Pharmaniaga, because everybody believes, you take vitamin C, you protect yourself. So take the first bottle that we have given and continue to get it once you complete the cycle, and use Pharmaniaga Citrax. Okay. And so this will be growth. We have seen a good market for vitamin C. Our Actimol, recently, I think you know the news about shortage of drugs, especially the paracetamol. We have gone in to support non-availability of Panadol. I can mention that brand because that was the one highlighted by the press. So our Actimol sales has doubled and still growing. So they will see. We hope to get the customers' loyalty, continue to maintain the brand. And Baraka, the black seed oil, we are the sole distributor in Malaysia. The growth has grown significantly as well. I will not cover each and every. So the OTC and supplement growth we are looking at, what it has grown is 75%, quarter 2 versus quarter 1 versus quarter 1 last year, and we expect this to continue to grow. And if there are any questions later, whether any of our product was impacted, with the news highlight about shortage of drugs. There was some shortage of drug in vitamin C and paracetamol, but not because of our doing. Our supply was consistent. However, because the main originator could not eat, 70% of Malaysian paracetamol is produced by Panadol. So when they had shortage, the rest of the players will have to support that 70%. And it was a tough battle for us to suddenly increase from X to double the same quantity. Footprint in international market, this is engine of growth for Pharmaniaga again. We want to grow into this area. I won't go into detail each and every. Indonesian outfit has shown 23% growth in quarter 1 2022. We expect this to continue moving forward. Indonesia has normalized similar to Malaysia. Things are moving better now. We can see pickup in the sales and marketing as well. We also signed MOU, as Dato' mentioned earlier, with Prime Healthcare in Dubai to support our entry into MENA region. We are not looking, Indonesia is unique because we have a physical presence there, we have a plant, we have a logistic business there. For other countries, what we'll do is we'll partner with a very strong player who knows the market, who have connection to the authorities to be able to apply for approval and so on. And with that message, we hope to grow. And in the event the size is sizable, then only we look at investing. But otherwise, we will work with partners who are reliable within those countries. So with that, I end my presentation. So I did not go through each and every, I just covered only the significant ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Encik Iqbal and Puan Noraini for that comprehensive presentation. We shall now proceed with the Q&A session. Please raise your hand and we will get a mic to you to ask your questions. But let me just get the ball rolling. So I think what a lot of people want to know is that Malaysia is expected to hold their general elections in the second half of the year. So do you think this will affect your contract, your concession extension with the MOH?
I think as long as the government has yet to announce the election, we just going forward. Not to worry about that, just going forward, moving forward. And I think the government has played their role in a very rightful manner. And even though there will be election, I think our business will continue to grow as what we plan.
Okay. If there are no questions from the floor, I'll keep the questions rolling. So, who are your competitors in the export of fill and finish vaccines?
At the moment, we don't have any competitors, to tell you frankly, that in the world, the fill and finish vaccine that we assigned by Sanobank in 5 countries, Malaysia, Indonesia, PT Bio Farma, one company in Turkey, another one in Egypt, which has yet to come up with their vaccine last one is in Brazil. So these 5 countries has been given a license by Central Bank, and only us working very closely with Central Bank and can export the Central Bank vaccine to other countries. At the moment, PT Bio Pharma, we have just met them. I just came back from Bandung last week with PT Bio Pharma. They have no plan to go to other countries because they are looking to completing the vaccination program in Indonesia alone. At the moment, for the second dose, they only achieve up to 65%, and they are looking for the third dose for the booster. So that's why the government is focused on within the Indonesia, and like Malaysia, we are completing the third dose. I think quite substantial, and then we are focused to go to other countries. It's a very good progress. We are discussing with few countries in Africa, and also we are also discussing with IDB, which is very important. IDB is Islamic Development Bank. We're going to look into funding for those countries that are having an issues to raise fund, be it in Africa or other parts of the world. So we are very, very confident that we are going to secure some of the contracts soon. As what mentioned by Iqbal just now, our ED, Zulkifli, is in Egypt to discuss on the vaccine supply, not only for in Egypt but also part of African nation.
Thank you, Dr. Now we have a question.
Hi, morning, Dato', Encik Iqbal, and also Pak Raini. Thanks for hosting this briefing. Really good to meet you guys.
Good morning.
So, a few questions from me. I think
Where are you from?
sorry, Sherman from CGS.
Okay.
I think just a few questions from my side to start the ball rolling. Firstly, in terms of the vaccine, I understand that there were very minimal sales in the first quarter, like what Pak Raini mentioned. But can I just get some sense of how many filled and finished doses were actually delivered in the first quarter itself? And how many doses of the vaccine do you have left that you would have to fill and finish going forward? That's at the end of the first quarter.
If I remember correctly, it's about 2 million doses has been supplied to the whole nation, and then it still continue our sales for the country. Okay, basically what was happened is we've been requested by government to have the stock ready, because in the event there is another round of pandemic coming, so we have to make sure that the supply of the vaccine within the country. Because what happened was when the first round of pandemic happened, okay, like in India, I just came back from India meeting with Serum Institute. The government restricted serum from export vaccine. So the whole world having a problem because Serum is the largest vaccine manufacturer in the world. So that through that experience, when we discuss with them, so we tell them that we need to have our stock ready in our country itself. So that's why, even though our stock is on the high side, okay, it's purely because to protect the country, right? That's why we very confident that, okay, in the event there is another round of pandemic or another round of another variant coming in. As you know, that mutation happened very fast, so we need to get protection. So at least we have that ready for the country, and then the people will be can immediately supply to the government or to the public. So that's why I think because of this pandemic happened, we learned a lot from this situation. That's what happened when Shanghai locked down. Nothing moved. We cannot get, even our money there got stuck also. So this is what happens when there is a problem in these big countries like China or India, because they are main sourcing of the raw material, especially on the pharmaceutical products. So through this experience, I think, and through discussion with them, I think we need to have our own, I can say that, security stockpile for the country. So I think that is our intention, which that other company don't have. Okay, other pharmaceutical company in Malaysia don't have that stockpile. So that is why we have to sacrifice for the nation.
Okay, thanks so much, Dato'. Do you mind disclosing how much of the remaining stock you have left for your fill and finish?
At the moment, more than 10 million doses.
More than 10 million doses, but does that include already finished doses that you filled
Yes.
from Sinovac already?
Yes.
So includes that. Would you mind disclosing the breakdown between finished and unfinished doses?
I can't remember because some of it come directly from Sinovac, finished product. Okay, because last year when the pandemic was the peak, the government requested us immediately to make sure that the things ready. So we have to immediate stockpile.
Do you expect to deplete the entire stockpile this year?
We are going to possibly going to let go the stockpile this year because the expiry date will be end of next year. So it's still in a long time. Okay, so before end of the year we can let go at least more than half of the vaccine, because we still need to make sure that the stockpile in the country is there.
Okay, and my second question, right, is on your logistics and distribution side. I see that there's a decline, quite a sharp decline in profit after tax, right, for L&D segment on a quarter-on-quarter basis, I think by about 54%. What's the driver for this, given that there's usually better seasonality right, in the first quarter?
Okay, Sherman. You compare against quarter one in the same quarter last year in terms of the logistics?
Q-on-Q basis.
Q-on-Q basis, again, fourth quarter. Yes, of course, because as I mentioned just now, Q4 we have an exceptional adjustment because we closed our COVID-19 accounts, whereby we are actually saving in terms of our transportation. Yeah, that is actually the reason why our Q4 is actually better. Yeah, that is the reason, the selling and distribution for the COVID-19. Yeah, because we did provision for quarter 3, quarter 4. So once we finalize everything all delivered, then we have all the actual invoices, right? So this is actually the additional profit that we are gained during the quarter 4 2021. Yeah.
Right, and also on your EBITDA margins for the L&D segment, overall for FY21, it's quite healthy at about 4.2%, higher versus what it has been historically. What drove this, and what should we expect in terms of the EBITDA margins for this year and even the next 2 to 3 years?
Okay, in terms of EBITDA margin for logistics and distribution, because last year is because we had our distribution vaccines from AstraZeneca and a few parts like Japan donation vaccines. So these are actually giving our profits better for logistics and distribution. Just be mindful that under the logistics and distribution pillar, not only our concession business, because we do have our private sector as well. And I mentioned just now, because there is actually healthy growth in terms of our private sector, these are actually giving better margin year on year and moving forward. So this is actually the expectation for logistics and distribution.
Right, thanks. And also my last question on the Indonesian operations. Like you mentioned, I think just now during your presentation, the Indonesian ops turned around quite nicely to about 4 million profit in the first quarter, compared to sustained losses of very minimal profits in the past. And you say this was due to inventory optimization and also payment collections, right? Can we get a sense of how sustainable is this going forward? Should we expect profits to continue to be at the level of about 4 million per quarter? Or could you just give us some guidance in terms of what you're looking at going forward?
Yeah, for Indonesia operation, we are going to revamp the business model to make sure that the sustainability of the profit. As you can see, when we do some tweaking in terms of our business model and also in terms of our collections, as well as a reorg some of our operation efficiency in each of the division or branches, so the profitability increase. We also monitor very closely on the taxation because Indonesia have very quite efficient tax model, you know. So we look into the taxation and improve on the taxation punya plan program for the PT FDI especially, and that's why you can see there is improvement. At the same time also you have to remember that Indonesia have a big population, 270 million population. So we have an aggressive reachability, okay, towards our customers. Okay, or which the customers in Indonesia currently apotek ataupun pharmacies and also toko ubat yang boleh macam jamu lah, toko ubat. So in Indonesia we have about 45,000. Now our reachability only 15,000. So we're going to expand that. So starting last year and first quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and first quarter this year, that is the impact of the way that we do some revamping. So it's going to move forward and then to revamp more, to be more sustainable in terms of profit and also the growth of the business. Our expectation for Indonesia is very big because Indonesia coverage now, I foresee is not really covered more than 50% of the apotek or pharmacies in Indonesia. Like I mentioned, only 15,000. So in Indonesia we have 45,000. So it's only about not even 40% of our reachability. So if we can reach, okay, at least to 60%, okay, then we can see that the sustainability of the business growth as well as the profitability.
If I can just follow up on that, right? In terms of the stock optimization and better payment collection scheme, can you elaborate what exactly are we doing differently?
Yeah, what happened was last year the collection from the government is very slow in terms of payment because of the pandemic or whatnot. So I think we reduced tremendously from, if I'm not mistaken, from 120 days to 70 days, something like that. You know? So this is the plan that we have put in for the last few quarters in order to make sure our operation more efficient. So we have to be so-called to be close to the government hospital because it operates differently from Malaysia here. So that's why when we understand a little bit how it operates, then that's why the range of the collection has been optimized. Secondly, we discussed it with our principal, whereby we try to have a back-to-back arrangement. So some of the principal agreed to that arrangement. That made the optimization happen for the initial operation.
Probably I'll add on the government. What they did was to implement an insurance scheme, right? But they are underfunded. So because of that, they could not pay. There were cases where we were paid 1 year late. So that has normalized now. They have enough fund in the pocket and we are getting payments regularly. So that's one of the key improvements.
Should we expect that to continue going forward? Or
Yeah, it'll be positive. Yeah, they have normalized the case.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Dato'.
Hi, Dato', Iqbal and as well as Puan Orani. Thank you for having us here today. I'm Sophie from Hong Kong. I just have one question. due to the API cost increase, I understand is that it hasn't hit Pharmaniaga just yet because you guys have not made any orders as of now. So when can we expect the next order to be made? And usually, when you want to go, how many months of supply does Pharmaniaga need?
What would
API.
oh, we don't supply you?
No, as in like, how many months of supply do you fulfill?
Okay. So far, we don't have problem on the API, importation of the API, because all the API that we ordered, we have extra stock. All right. We project in at least 3 to 6 months stock ahead. So then the API, what do you call it, issues is not really affected as much.
And also we have first source and second source. So if we have issues with first source, if they increase, then we move to second source. And we already have the formulas to get it right as well.
Okay, just wondering, when are we expecting the next order for your APIs?
It will be periodic depending on product. It's continuous. So up to now, we have ordered, for example, like paracetamol, when we have short, we have ordered, and it has not hit us anything yet. Yeah.
Okay,
Still normal.
got it, thanks.
All right.
Hi, good afternoon, Dato' and for Amy. Firstly, let me just say congratulations on the first quarter results.
Thank you.
My name is Emilia, I'm from Kuala. I'm just wondering, with the current inflationary environment right now, do you foresee any potential costs that could pressure up on your margin? Maybe perhaps on your other variables or other fixed costs that could you face going forward? Just wondering.
From our discussion of the management that we have, so we have a management meeting every 2 weeks, and I have starting from last year when I came in, we have a weekly meeting as well on the short meeting weekly to foresee that this kind of thing, inflation and whatnot. So what happened was, in this industry, pharmaceutical industry, okay, somehow or other, okay, you need to be sustainable. It's exactly like the food industry. Orang kalau tak makan, matilah lapar. And then if you don't have obat, then also mati also. So that's why the drug industry must be continuous. So our supply to the hospital is always there. Alright? So the government has not stopped getting the supply from us, and we also has not stopped producing any supply to the government. So that is one thing. But now we have extra. We have our division in Indonesia. So in Indonesia, you know that the population is 10 times higher than Malaysia, and now our business there is growing. So we have backup Malaysia and Indonesia. So that's why I think moving forward for Pharmaniaga, I think you can see that the progress, improvement in terms of revenue and also profitability. And we have a good plan, a very comprehensive plan to move forward in this thing. So I believe that you can see the result not only end of this year, but also next year. You can see in terms of how we're going to approach, and then also about our revenue increment. Last year, we, as you know, that we are touching close to 5 billion because of the vaccine. And then many people ask me, what are you going to sustainable? Because there is no vaccine anymore. So it's not only for the vaccine COVID-19. We have so many vaccines, all right, and so many insulin that we are producing and supplying. So that's why the only thing is the focus. The focus will be Indonesia and also Indonesia. You're talking about pharmaceutical business, it must be big volume. Right? You cannot cater only 43 million population only. And Pharmaniaga cannot supply 43 million population already because it's already saturated. So we have to go outside. So that is why we put a very comprehensive plan, not only for Malaysia but also for Southeast Asia region. We are planning, now we already have our footprint in Indonesia, whereby nobody knows that we already have been there for the last 15 years in Indonesia. 15 tahun dah. Bukan baru. And we understand the business well in Indonesia. Many companies fail in Indonesia. But Alhamdulillah for Pharmaniaga, our company is still quite low profitable. But now we know already how to make it more profitable in Indonesia. And we also go into Thailand, another country, nearby. Right? Because it's Southeast Asia region is easy to go in because in terms of the ASEAN countries and whatnot, and then the collaboration is much more easier. So that's why I think with our comprehensive plan, not only for Malaysia but also for international, I think this year and next year and in 3 to 5 years, our program will be very, very good. On top of that, I would like to tell you that our focus in biopharmaceutical, not many companies having these capabilities. All right. In Malaysia, I can say that we are the only companies that having the very big setup for the pharmaceutical, be it vaccine and insulin. We are the only company produce vaccine now. Okay, be it on the fill and finish. It's not easy. And now we're moving to insulin. All right. So these two products is a major thing, and it is a high entry, which is mean high investment. If any companies want to come in, the investment is huge, more than 400 million, 500 million. So not easy for any companies to come in because first you need to have expertise. All right. We have more than 100 scientists in our R&D. I hope all the fund analysts here go to our place and see our R&D. We have more than 100 scientists in every area. One is pharmaceutical area, second on biopharmaceutical area, and third in nutraceutical. So our focus is there. So then, moving forward, I think when we have a niche market for insulin, vaccine, and then I think in terms of growth, will be there. When it comes to the inflation is happened. But our inflation rate is normally when negara target about 2 to 3%, okay, every year. So we are following that very closely. But as I mentioned, dia macam drug ni macam food lah. Kalau tak ada Panadol, you pening kepala sakit, macam mana pun you cari kat Panadol. Sekarang you cari antimol, Panadol tak ada. So just kidding. Alright, thank you.
Thank you, Dato'.
Hello, Dr. Lu, good to see you again.
Yeah.
Adrian here from Public Bank.
Yes, I did.
I have a silly question for you.
Okay.
I just want a comment from you also.
Yeah.
You know, just like you, I'm a fan of Sinovac. My 3 jab is also Sinovac. So then now,
I'm a fan of Sinovac too.
yeah, I know, that's why I said I'm just like you, a fan of Sinovac. You know, I have friends, of course, these people are the ones taking AZ and Pfizer. So now they come up to me and say, Adrian, you better take additional AZ or Pfizer. They say, you look at China now, still locking down. So what it means is that Sinovac doesn't work, is it? I mean, I just want to know your comment and how do I answer, how do I jawab these people also?
Okay, you have to understand the policy of Chinese government. They're going for the zero COVID-19 policy. So that is the main policy. Mana dia boleh dapat zero, tak boleh. So, but they are trying very hard. So that's why yakin dekat Shanghai bukan 100,000. Only about, I think not even 5,000 itu buat lockdown. We are communicating with Sinovac, and then just last few weeks, I'm communicating with the ambassador of China, the minister, Mr. Rang Tui Rang. Tang Rui. So he told me that they want to make sure to go for the zero policy. You tell me now, what are the country that have zero policy? But in terms of protection, all right, I can tell you that now 30% of the Malaysians getting Sinovac. Because we are supplying more than 10 million or 20 million doses to the country. more than 20 million doses, but there are more than 10 million people. So more than 30% getting Sinovac. Yang mana ada kena Sinovac, tu ada problem. Tak ada, you pun tak ada problem. I pun tak ada problem. I just came back from many countries. I went to London, I went to UK, I went to Dubai, I went to India. You know, nothing happened, okay. It's just a protection. But you have to remember that Sinovac and Sinopharm, okay, the technology is kill virus technology, which is already, the technology is already proven for the last 60, 70 years. Okay? So, it's a very safe technology. Efficacy is something different. It's something that people think that the higher the efficacy, the better the protection. No. Efficacy is just a trial punya, clinical trial set up by the WHO. Kalau nak cerita pasal ni, I kena panggil Dr. Ajit pula to explain on the technicalities. So many people, they confuse efficacy, keberkesanan, protection. Efficacy and protection are two different things. So when you have a vaccine, you have a better protection. Right? Be it AstraZeneca, Pfizer, or Sinovac. The only thing is, if let's say, you ask your friend, if let's say in US, they want to apply zero COVID-19 vaccine policy, do you think can achieve or not? Zero. In Israel also, 100% also cannot, even though 100% Pfizer. Tak boleh. So that is why lah. It's not because COVID, Sinovac tak bagus, no. Turkey using Sinovac, Indonesia almost 90% Sinovac. Very good. In Turkey, in Brazil, tak ada masalah. Okay. Why we cannot enter Europe? There is geopolitical problem. Geopolitical problem is another issue pula. So I malah nak cerita pasal geopolitik. I'm not a politician. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate that.
Alright, thank you.
Do you have any more questions?
Yes.
Thanks, Dato'. Just a follow-up questions from me. I'm aware that you guys are building out our vaccine and insulin manufacturing facility to be completed by 24 to 26, around that. Can you just guide us in terms of the annual capex that you're expecting to spend on these two facilities over the next few years?
Okay, let me iterate back to you. The facilities will be ready in 2024. Okay. Then we need to get the approval, the products from the PRA. Some product will be approved by as early as 2025 and can be commercialized, or end of 2024. Right? It depends on the complexity of the molecule of the products, be it insulin or vaccine. But the target for the completion, or which on the right track now, both insulin and the vaccine factory is 2024 at the mid of third quarter, something like that. But the product itself, to get approved, commercially viable, either end of 2024 or 2025. I think the capex we already announced last quarter, about 170 million in totality.
Total for both plants?
Both.
And also, how have you secured funding for this capex?
Dah lama dah. Settle lah.
Yeah, I think just another question for me is, are you bound by any debt covenants? Meaning, do your creditors impose any maximum gearing ratio or net debt to EBITDA ratios?
We do have our financial covenant or debt covenant with our bankers, our financier. Definitely we have. Yeah? In terms of gearing ratio, there's about 2, I think, the covenant. So far we are not reaching the covenant.
Yeah, I think those are all.
All right.
Thanks so much, Adonai.
Thank you.
Maybe we can take a few more questions before we conclude the briefing. question. I think this should be for Puan Nuraini. What's the expected impact of the Cukai Makmur on the group's performance?
This is indirect question to trigger how much our expected profit for 2022. Well, I would say that at this juncture is actually insignificant, unless there's another pandemic hit, but touch wood, insignificant.
Thank you, Puan Nuraini. Okay, we have no more questions. Dato', do you have any closing statement?
I think I would like to thank you to Kevin and the team, and also all the fund analysts that come today. I really hope that we can get more interaction for you guys to understand how we're going to move forward. Because many people think that we are depending on the concession or whatnot. Okay? Our plan is we're going to have like 50-50 from concession, also from the private, be it internationally or private sector initially. Then we're going to go for 70-30, which is when 30% from the government and 70% from international and also private sector. That is our aim. But when I talk to CERC, to many companies in China, so their revenue more than $1 trillion US, and their income 90% come from the government of China, because their population is big. When I go to India, I talk to Serum Institute. 90% of Serum Institute, income from the government of India. Right? So which is mean that if the government give contract to us, mana bagus lah, jangan cakap tak bagus. Tapi kadang-kadang public perception, you dependent on the government. So you can see that even Pfizer, they depend on US government. Alright, so that's why I hope that the fund analysts, as our friend, support whether the government contract or private contract or international contract, as long as it gives the revenue to any companies, especially like us, JSC, and we are giving back to the societies. Right? And then sometimes we have to do something that maybe other countries cannot do. Like I told you, stockpiling of the drugs. Right? So which is cost us millions, but we need to have that because it is for the country's sake. So that's why I hope that look at the many angles. So support from fund analysts, and hopefully after this better lah. Kadang dia tengok TV tu jatuh, I pun heran juga. Kita ada macam-macam program kita nak buat, macam-macam industri yang kita nak target, macam-macam niche market, which is nobody touch into the market. Saya ada TV jatuh, macam mana ni? So that's why I told my team, I want to have face to face. And then kalau you tak faham tanya kita bagi tahu in detail why semua. Bagilah sikit bolehlah kita bernafas sikit. Itulah. Anyway, thank you to all of you. Thank you very much for coming and support us all this while. And hopefully you continue to support us. Thank you very much.
Pharmaniaga's first quarter briefing for the year. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us here today. To the analysts and fund managers, lunch will be served in the next door at Mutiara 1 and 2. Thank you.